This one, took this from a Maxwell podcast called A Leader's Greatest. And so essentially, he goes through a leader's greatest challenge, a leader's greatest weight, all of those things. And I'm going to touch on a few today, and a few line up with our core values here at the company. So we got our core values on the wall now, which looks really good. Might as well touch on a few of those. So Maxwell starts off the podcast, and I would encourage you to listen to it. It's a 3-part podcast. I forget what dates it is, but if you scroll through there, it's in there. But he talks about the leader's greatest challenge or the greatest victory as it relates to a particular challenge that we have as a leader is victory over self. So we have talked about this almost ad nauseum. You guys are probably sick and tired of hearing me talk about, we get it, dude. Lead yourself. We get it. But the reason that I keep harping on it is because I keep struggling with it every day. Let me say that again. I keep struggling with it every day. And I'm going to guess that you probably struggle with it every day. Why is that? Well, because we're all human, right? As I've said many a times, when my alarm went off this morning, wasn't super giddy about getting up. I know my daughter wasn't super giddy about getting up. She kicked me. You know, that's normal. So what is all of this? All of this lead yourself stuff? Well, most of the problems that you're going to encounter in leadership are a result of yourself. Now let's think about that. Most of the problems in leadership are problems with ourselves. So I would imagine that we all can think back to a time that whether in a leadership role and or not in a leadership role, where we have blamed someone else for their performance, for their lack of this, or their inability to follow direction. Have we ever done that before? You ever done that? We do that maybe yesterday. Hell, we may have done it already this morning. Blamed somebody else and or some other situation for our problem. Why can't they just do it like we told them? Why can't they just do it like I would do it? Yeah? What I can tell you is if you continue to think that way, I can almost guarantee you you're going to continue to find that particular situation. You will continue to find people who don't do it your way. People who don't do what you've instructed them to do. Anybody have kids? Have you ever instructed them to do something and they didn't do it? Have you ever told somebody exactly, explicitly, given them direction, literally it's bullet pointed out, why can't you figure this out? And they still do it wrong. Well, as a leader, what we have to understand and what we have to be willing to do is we have to be willing to take ownership for that. And the more ownership that you take for what those that you're leading are doing, the more ownership you take and look inward and say, what could I do to help this situation? What could I do to be a better leader? The more we do that, the better leader you will be. Now, this doesn't mean just clean up everybody's messes and just be the doormat for everybody. Well, Chad said, take ownership of it, so I guess they're never going to do it right, so I guess I'll just do everything for them. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is when someone does something that doesn't work, or isn't going as planned, to help them, to understand that it is your obligation to help them. You know, I spoke about, I think it was 2 weeks ago or the week before, I spoke about a situation with my dad. I kept getting pissed off at him because he was always in a bad mood. He was always like angry, walking around here. I wanted to slap him. I was like, so many things are going right. What is your problem, dude? Why are you... I just got to the point where I was like, dude, sit down, shut the door. What is your problem? Because I don't want to be around you. I've always wanted you around here, but I don't want you around here because you are a walking grouch. And it's like getting in my space. I don't like it. And you know what he said to me? Well, I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, I am upset because I just am confused. I don't, like, this thing's moving so fast, and I know you guys know what you're doing, but I just want to be in the loop. Guess what? That was a me problem. It wasn't a him problem. It was a me problem. I talk to my dad 3 times a week now. Hey, this is what's going on. You know what? In 2 weeks, his attitude's completely changed. Because I made him promise me, here's the deal. I will keep you in the loop. I will tell you everything that is going on in this place if you have a positive attitude about it. He said, sounds good to me. But I could have kept going on and blaming him. I did for like 3 months. That's a him problem. Idiot. Doesn't see anything. What's his deal? Everybody else are having a great time. Well, there goes Dad. Bet he's pissed about something. Let me guess. Someone's got a space heater. Someone hung something on a wall. Someone spilled the coffee. Now, he does still get mad about those things, so be careful when you do those items. The coffee, one of his pet peeves. Funny story. So I brought up the coffee incident in front of my mom. Well, he sure doesn't care when he leaves his dirty dishes in the sink. I go, Dad, right there, man. You got to clean up those dishes. Backfiring on you real quick, bub. Real quick. But at the end of the day, think about all those situations in your life where there is just tension. There is like an issue, like I can't get through to this person. Guess what? Anytime that I've had an issue with like someone that I'm leading and it's like you find yourself in a room with somebody else other than that person and you're talking about that person and you're like, God, I just can't figure out why they can't figure this out. They're so silly. I don't understand it. Bring that person in that you're talking about. Talk to them. And it's not easy. I hate it. I hate confrontation. I hate it. I will avoid it at all costs. Ask my wife. You don't want to talk to anybody. I go, I know. That's why I married you. You just confront everybody. You do it. Opposites attract, honey. Opposites attract. Bring that person in. Because guess what? It's probably a you problem. Because think about it. It is a you problem. Because you're blaming them for not doing something, but you've never told them. Or you think you've told them, bring them in. Hey, here's how I feel. This is what's going on. This isn't working right. We got to fix it. But so often we spend it with the wrong person. We spend it with a colleague who will back us up and say, you know what? They are stupid. You're awesome. Right? That's what we do. I do it. It's terrible. It's awful leadership. But it's human nature. We want to avoid what is difficult and do what is very easy. And if you think about those times when you have stretched and you have had that conversation with that person, it's tough at first, but damn, when you get on the same page, there is nothing better. God, I'm glad I had that conversation. I feel so much better that they know how I feel, and what you often find is, oh, well, shit. If I would have known that, I would have done it like that the whole time. The more ownership you can take over your life and every situation, every relationship, if you just own it and understand that you owning it is not admitting fault, is not admitting you're wrong, it's simply just taking ownership of, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to make this right. The more you do that, the more you are going to find yourself on the right side of everything. It's tough. It's not easy. We'd all rather things just go how they're supposed to go and us just kind of walk through. That's everybody. You know, Maxwell talks about, as it relates to leading yourself, he talks about the lens principle. Who we are determines how we see others. Isn't that true? How many times have, God, if they could just do it my way, they could just figure that out. Well, I'd do it like this. I don't understand why they're doing it like that. We see others as we are. What do you think that person's saying about you? I don't understand why he wants me to do it this way. I'll just do it my way. Works, doesn't it? Who we are determines how we see others. Think about your overall attitude. How do you go into a day? Anybody ever woken up on the wrong side of the bed? You're just not having a great day. Nothing's going right. Spilled the coffee. Kids are going wild. Tops of the bottles won't fit on right. Half the bottle's in the dishwasher. It's running. You can't get it out. I speak from experience. You have an option to see others however you want to see them. But what I can tell you is that your ability to see others in the best light is going to be your biggest asset as a leader. You know, one of Jack Needham, who's been around the organization for a couple of years, the one thing that he said to me when the first conversation I ever had with him is he said, as a leader, you have to understand that everybody is perfect, just the way they are. Your ability to change someone, I'm not gonna place any money on that bet. You're not gonna change people. I'm not gonna make someone do something drastically different. Now, will they grow? Absolutely. We can facilitate growth. But holistically, you are not going to change people. And you have to understand that you're going to have a team of a bunch of different people. So no one's going to do it the same. No one's going to see problems in the same manner. No one's going to see solutions in the same manner. But the more that we can understand that that's perfectly fine, that's okay, there's nothing wrong with them, is when we start having breakthroughs with those people. Hey, can you explain to me why, what's your thought process in doing it this way? Well, I don't know, I never really thought about it. Okay, cool. Well, here's my thought process when I do that same task. Does that make sense to you? Sort of, a little bit. Okay, well, let's figure it out. Let's get together and come up with a solution. Rather than, I don't understand why they want to do it my way. I don't understand why they can't listen. Guess where that's going to get you? Nowhere. It's not going to get you anywhere. We all do it, but it's not going to get us anywhere. It's not going to get us anywhere until we sit down and we understand that it's our responsibility to figure out ourselves. Maxwell talks about another principle of his, the mirror principle. We must first examine ourselves. All we want to do is, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they showing up on time? Why can't they clock in? Why can't they do service tighten right? Why can't they, what's the other one? Create a PO right? Why can't they do this stuff? Well, how are we teaching them? I'll never forget when Kayla first started. I think this PO is a problem. And what I found out when I talked to people is that we've never taught them how to do it. That would be a problem. That is a great discovery that we have found, is we've never taught them how to do it correctly. Okay, well, we may want to start there. But there again, what a step in the right direction as far as a leader. She could have just fell right in line and just said, these idiots, figure it out. It's pretty simple. Do it this way. Well, no, go to the people. Find out. What about this don't you understand? I don't understand a damn thing of it. Never seen it. Okay, well, we'll start there. We talk about communication so much in this industry because of the dynamic that a third of our workforce works out of this building and 2/3 of this workforce works out in a vehicle outside of this building. Well, that makes it tough. That's something that a lot of businesses don't have to deal with. Everybody's in the building. I always talk about it. The only thing I would change is be able to call an all-company meeting at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But we can't do that here. That don't work. So what do? Well, we look internal and we figure out ways to communicate better. We're always working on it. It'll never be perfect. Everyone in their review, since I have been here 10 years, everyone in their review, the first thing that we could improve here at the company is communication. Guess what? We're always going to be working on that. We ought to just take the review form and just type in communication as the number one thing that we could improve and just leave it there for on end. It'll be there. I'll show these guys. Communication. We get it. It's on everyone's. We're working on it. God damn it. We're going to figure it out. It's never going to be perfect. We'll get it. There's going to be times when you're like, I never knew that. It's okay. As long as no one got hurt and the customer got taken care of, we'll work through it. You know, as I was listening to this podcast this morning and I was preparing for this, they said one thing that just hit me like a ton of bricks. Leadership is easy to teach, but hard to model. Boy, is that ever true. Easy to teach, but hard to model. As I was thinking about this, easy to teach, hard to model. I just thought about all those times in my life when I've done things, said things, not done things intentionally, but yet I stand up here and teach about leadership. But there's plenty of times in my life that I haven't modeled leadership at all, frankly. I haven't had that tough conversation. I've talked to a colleague about how someone can't figure this out. And it made me feel better at the time. Like, yeah, you see it my way. Cool, all right. Did you ever talk to that person? No. God, no. It's much more fun just to talk about how they can't figure it out. I think about it in my own personal life. Many of you are married. Think about that. Easy to teach leadership, hard to model. This is the one I struggle with the most. Honey, if you literally don't wash off your dish and you leave it in the sink one more time, I am going to lose it. We have had that argument, I don't know how many times at the sink. Because I'm in charge of the dishes and I like them done a certain way. I don't understand why you leave food on your plate. It's washed off. She read off some stat that it's better to leave food on your dishes before you put them in the dishwasher? Has anyone seen this? That it cannot be true. There is no way. How does your dishwasher work better if I leave half of my dinner on my plate before I put it in the dishwasher? That is not true. Whoever wrote that, literally, I got a problem with you. I'm willing to be a bad leader to discuss this issue. There's no way that that is true. How can that be? It isn't true. I know it isn't. I don't even know where she read that. She read it off her phone. Daryl, no one asked you. Yeah, exactly. But yet, if we think about it, why wouldn't I just say, who cares? How many things do I do that are annoying? The list goes on. Well, wouldn't the leader just pick that up or figure that out or maybe make that not a big deal? Probably. But it's easy to talk about it. Leadership, leadership, leadership. I got plenty of books on my shelf. Look at me, leader, leader, leader. But yet I go home and I'm complaining about the plates in the sink. We all have those situations. It's easier to complain. It's easier to feel better about ourselves because someone else is doing something wrong. It's got to be someone else. Surely is not us. Followers think of themselves first. Leaders think of others. When I'm complaining about the plates in the sink, I'm truly thinking about myself. I'm thinking about how, for whatever reason, when I walk by and see that someone has left a plate in the sink and it's got food on it, how upset that makes me. I don't know why. Now that I say it out loud, I'm not sure why that makes me so upset. But that's truly thinking about myself. What if my wife left the plate in there because she was running after the kid, or the kid needed a bottle, or Blake was throwing something off a wall, or needed a fruit snack, or whatever it may be? What if we thought like that at work? Well, why didn't someone do that? Well, maybe they were doing something else. The only way we find that out is we sit down and we talk to that person. We understand where they're coming from. You know, most people will say, well, but this person on my team, they just don't. Okay. Well, I'm sure that I can probably trace it back to something that you did or didn't do. If that person really isn't the right fit for the team, why'd you hire them? I'll never forget someone saying in the hiring process, I'm super excited to hire them. That day you interview them, make the offer, yes, build that spot. Now we're talking. This is good. But then all of a sudden, 3 months later, they're the worst person to ever walk the earth. Whose fault's that? Guess what? They were that same person 3 months prior. So we need to take responsibility. We're either going to help that person figure that out, or maybe they shouldn't be on our team. And that's okay. Maybe they should be on somebody else's team. But we better sure as heck interview differently the next time. Because if we go in and ask the same questions and do the same things, well then, guess what? That next time is going to be our fault too. We have to learn, and we learn by looking at ourselves. You are never going to learn by blaming someone else. You never will. You know, we talk about, as often said, as, you know, I learn more from making a mistake than having something go well, right? I think that's so true. But you never learn from a mistake until you look internally, till you understand what you could have done better. You know, I've talked about a few times, the one thing that we screwed up this year was, an acquisition. And I've been trying my hardest to take responsibility for everything that went wrong on this. Why? Because I'm learning so much. But I wouldn't have if I would have just said, just figure it out. Jeez, come on. Ain't that bad. You're fine. But that was hard. It wasn't easy. I wanted it to go well, but it didn't. It's okay. We'll learn from it. It'll be okay. No one got hurt that I know of. We're all right. But we got to look at ourselves. If you can do that, if you can make that a habit, people will follow you. Because it's contagious, right? That person doesn't blame anybody. They just go fix things. Yep, all right, that went wrong. Let's go fix it. Let's go have that conversation with that person. Let's go figure out where we need to get better. And where that ability to do it is what Maxwell talks about as a leader's greatest asset. A leader's greatest asset is confidence. He says it's difficult for those that don't believe in themselves to believe in others. You ever found yourself not believing in yourself, not thinking that, I'm probably not right for this? This is probably too big of a role for me. I don't know if I can do this. Guess what? You can. But it starts with you believing that. Has anybody ever followed anybody that wasn't super confident? It's not a great place to be. You know, we talked 2 weeks ago about attitude. Everything about attitude. What kind of attitude you have. I said, you want to rise in this company, bring a positive attitude. Kind of mandated that. I ought to write that on a wall. Simplest thing. We promote people who have a fantastic attitude. Just want to go help people. Just want to figure things out. There isn't anything that we can't figure out. Guess what that is? Confidence. They may not know the answer, but God willing, they'll find it. They'll figure it out. You know, for whatever reason, I have been surrounded by resources and people and situations where, thinking positive comes very easy to me. I think part of it is I've kind of trained myself to do that. But it is a lot of who you surround yourself with, how you prime yourself for the day. But what if you could pass on confidence to the people on your team? Because your true job as a leader is to inspire others. And what I can tell you is that the best way to inspire, often people think, I got to do something like miraculous, like do a handstand or something, and really inspire these people. No, just have to be confident. What's the key to a great service technician? Confidence. Even if you don't know the answer to the problem, confidence. Confidence doesn't come with experience. It doesn't come with know-how. It doesn't come with any of that. You grant yourself confidence. You're in charge. I throw a lot of stuff at people here. I give them a lot of things to do to stretch them. Unfortunately, what they do, I have no idea how to do. That's why they're here. I don't have the slightest clue. In fact, what they do makes my brain hurt. Obviously, it doesn't make theirs hurt. But what I know I can help them with is being confident every time. If I told them to go do the impossible, and I was like, good luck. What? Confidence is key. Even when you're stressed, even when things seem like overwhelming to the nth degree, guess what? You'll get it done. You'll figure it out. May not be right on time, may be an issue down the road. Guess what? It'll be fine. It'll be okay. Take a breath, take a break, regroup. All is well. You'll be good. Why? Because I got the confidence in you that we'll get it done. It's not the end of the world. There's nothing in this business that I know of that has like the hardest deadline ever. Like there is no turning back. We'll get it done. Doesn't have to be today. Yeah, we'd like to get it done today, but if we don't, it'll be okay. That's not to say that we just don't take responsibility for anything. But at the end of the day, confidence reigns supreme. We'll get it done. You're really talented. Not a problem. And what I can tell you is that when things are being thrown at you, when we are growing fast and things never seem to stop and you never feel like you can get your head above water, know that I've got the confidence in you that we'll get it done. If you don't feel it from anybody else, you got it from me. Because you will. I know that. I'm confident of it. And you should be too. Because when you take ownership of, yeah, I'll figure it out, I'll get it done. Guess what? You have unleashed the power within you when you believe in yourself. When you believe that you can get it done. I don't need to tell you that, but sometimes things get thrown at us where, we lose that. I've been there. Like, oh, shit. How are we going to get all this done? Like, God, what have I got us into? Guess what? We'll always get out of it. Always wake up the next day and things are going well. New day. We'll start it off like that. The more you start believing, the more you have the confidence that everything in life is working for you, not against you, is the minute that you'll start moving in the direction that you want to move. It's only working against you if you think it is. One of the things we're fighting right now is getting trucks. You know what I said? This may be a great opportunity to revisit who rides in what truck. Maybe we've just been thinking about it like that's how we've always done it. Well, what if we did it a little bit different? This may just challenge us to think a little bit more. Yeah, would it be perfect if there was just trucks after trucks after trucks after trucks after trucks? Yep, sure would. Make things super easy. But it's not. But guess what? It'll be okay. We'll find trucks. We've been finding them. Are they all exactly what we normally use? No. There's some different ones. Our fleet maybe will look a little hodgepodged by the end of it, but it'll be okay. Everybody will have a vehicle. We'll keep growing. I doubt it'll stop us. Actually, I'm fairly confident it won't. What's the other way to think about it? Oh shit, we're screwed. Guess where that's going to get us? Nowhere. I mean, think about it. Like, we literally approach a situation like, oh my God, the sky's falling. That's terrible. What's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen? Just start approaching everything with the utmost confidence. Like, it'll be okay. We got this. Even if you have no freaking idea of how to solve the problem, it's okay. What I can tell you is that your attitude, that is contagious. And guess what? If you're confident, what you're going to attract is the people who do know the answer, because they want to work with you. They don't want to work with, oh God, stay away from that person. Jesus Christ, what is their problem? Like, I get it, it's bad, but is it that bad? You have that power. This leadership thing is super, super freaking simple. I always tell all the technicians, I like simple. I'm not super complicated. I don't want to be super complicated. Just simple. That's why I love leadership so much. You get to wake up every day and you get to make the choice. Do I want to be a leader today or no? Do I want to get pissed off about the plates that got food on them in the sink or no? Well, this morning I chose not to, because I knew I was talking about this. I looked at that damn plate and I said, it's okay. She had a long day yesterday. Did it still make me a little bit mad? Yeah, a little bit. But I fought it off, God damn it. Ugh. But you all have that choice. You all have the choice to bring confidence to every situation. Know that things are going to be overwhelming, and when they're overwhelming, God, they are just challenging you. Because you can do everything. Trust me. Anything that you are faced with today, you can do it. I am confident of it. No one's going to give you something you can't. Now, it may seem like there's way too much work and not enough time. And that's true. There's going to be times like that. But guess what? You'll get it all done. You will. Trust me. That's why you're on our team. Because I know you'll get it done. Because we'll help each other. We'll figure out something. I may not be able to directly help you, but I'll be there cheering you on. And sometimes, as a leader, that's what you got to do. You got to cheer them on. Because they know how to do it. That's why they're on your team. There's a lot of things around here I don't know how to do. But I'll cheer you on. What do I always tell plumbers in the plumbing meeting? Hey, if you need a hand, I'll be the best damn helper you ever did see. But you don't want me touching it. You don't want me touching it. But God, you tell me what tool you need, and I'll be Johnny on the spot. You want me to run to the truck? I'll literally run to the truck. I can do that. I can't fix it, but I can run to the truck. You guys don't have to agree with me, so yeah, thank God. Yeah. But that's the fun part about being on a team. That's the fun part about being surrounded by so many leaders, is people taking responsibility for what they're good at, helping each other when you're not. Everybody in this room, you woke up this morning and chose to take the path less traveled. And regardless of what you may be thinking right now, regarding what I have said this morning about, shoot, I'm not very good at that, or I screwed that up, guess what? So have I. It's okay. So have a lot of people. I'm not up here talking just to rub it in your face. I'm up here talking to give you the confidence that you can figure it out because you're on our team. No one's done anything wrong. So long as we learn from it, so long as we reach out and get help from others. You know, that part about having tough conversations, that's a reminder I need on a daily basis because that's not how I'm wired. I don't like to do that. But in order to be a good leader, I have to stretch. I got to be uncomfortable in those situations. And sometimes you maybe have to as well. And that's okay. So don't take anything I have said today as a, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong. Because the minute you think that is the minute that you're not learning. So don't think that. We're just talking about it because I know that people struggle with it, right? We're all in this together. We're all here to help each other. So what I can tell you is, if you do struggle with something, reach out to somebody that you see in this room because they'll probably help you. They'll probably give you the confidence to say, hey, you freaking got this. What do you need help with? taking ownership does not mean you are wrong. So if you walk out of this room and understand the things that you need to get better at, don't say, I'm doing this wrong, I need to do it right. Walk out of this room and say, hey, these are things I need to work on, but I'm going to work on it today. I'm going to get a little better today. I'm going to reach out to somebody who can make me better today. I'm going to find somebody on this team who can do it better than me and help me. That's when you start to grow. That's when you start to move forward. Do not walk out. If you are thinking about walking out of this room, sit here until you gather enough strength to not walk out of here and think that you are doing anything wrong. Deal? If you got to sit here, I think we're having a service meeting next. So if you got to sit through the service meeting to gather your thoughts, that'll be fine. Just sit towards the back. I mean, it should be a riveting meeting. I'm leading it, so those meetings are always just, whew. I told Roop the other day, hey, you better got a ticket if you want to come. It's standing room only. These bad boys. I'm just kidding. There's plenty of seats. It's not all that great, actually. But do not leave here thinking you're doing anything wrong. I'm looking at everyone because if you do, I swear to God, I will hunt you down. And I may not look very intimidating, but when it comes to you not following these things, I get very angry, sort of. Do not leave here thinking you are doing anything wrong. Leave here knowing that we're all working on ourselves. We're all working to get better. And your commitment to getting better pushes you in the right direction. And that's all you need every day. It's just to get a little bit better. You're not going to be perfect today. You're not going to be perfect tomorrow. You're not going to be perfect Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. But as long as you make the commitment to get a little bit better, you're heading in the right direction. We're never going to reach perfection. So stop aiming for it. You're going to be working, and something's going to go wrong, and that's okay. What a great opportunity to learn. Go find someone today and tell them they're doing great, and tell them you're there to help if they need you. The more that we can do that, the more we will create an environment that it is virtually impossible to think that you are doing anything wrong. Because someone is always there to help, and you will always be there to learn.